Hare Krishna, my dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to our Gurudev. Welcome to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. We are continuing to speak on Canto 1, Chapter 15, which is the Pandavas retired timely, and we are on verse number 17. So I offer my humble obeisances to all of you. Anja kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And humbly beg for your merciful blessings and your empowerment and mercy so that I'm able to do justice and speak something that will be truthful, beneficial, and pleasing to all the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. So let us start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashta Praishva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. I'll pause for a minute because I forgot to click the record button. Here we go. Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances again to all the Vaishnavas. So we will recite the verse and then we will continue our reading. Sautye vrita kumatinatmada ishvaro me yat pada padmam abhavyaya abhavaya bhajanti bhavyaha mam shrantavaham arayoratino bhuvistham na praharan yad anubhava nirasta chittaha. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Who's speaking over here? Arjun. is speaking to Yudhishthir Maharaj after returning from Dwaraka. It was by his mercy alone that my enemies neglected to kill me when I descended from my chariot to get water for my thirsty horses. And it was due to my lack of esteem for my Lord that I dared engage him as my chariot driver, for he is worshipped and offered services by the best men to attain salvation. Purport. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is the object of worship by both impersonalists and by the devotees of the Lord. The impersonalists worship his glowing effulgence emanating from his transcendental body of eternal form, bliss, and knowledge. And the devotees worship him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are even below the impersonalists consider him to be one of the great historical personalities. The Lord, however, descends to attract all by specific transcendental pastimes. And thus, he plays the part of the most perfect master, friend, son, and lover. Excuse me. His transcendental relation with Arjun was in friendship, and the Lord therefore played the part perfectly, as he did with his parents, lovers, and wives. While playing in such a perfect transcendental relation, the devotee forgets by the internal potency of the Lord that his friend or son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although sometimes the devotee is bewildered by the acts of the Lord. After the departure of the Lord, Arjun was conscious of his great friend, but there was no mistake on the part of Arjun, nor any ill estimation of the Lord. Intelligent men are attracted by the transcendental acting of the Lord with a pure, unalloyed devotee like Arjun. In the war field, scarcity of water is a well-known fact. Water is very rare there, and both the animals and men working strenuously on the war field constantly require water to quench their thirst. Especially wounded soldiers and generals feel very thirsty at the time of death. And it sometimes so happens that simply for want of water, one has to die unavoidably. But such scarcity of water was solved in the Battle of Kurukshetra by means of boring the ground. By God's grace, water can be easily obtained from any place if there is facility for boring the ground. The modern system works on the same principle of boring the ground, but modern engineers are still unable to dig immediately wherever necessary. It appears, however, from the history as far back as the days of the Pandavas, that big generals like Arjun could at once supply water even to the horses, and what to speak of men, by drawing water from underneath the hard ground simply by penetrating the stratum with a sharp arrow, a method still unknown to the modern scientists. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagrana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Raghunathan Sri Lalita Vishakhanvitam Scha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we would like to speak a little bit on the first and second paragraphs of this purport, describing the perfect relationship that Lord Sri Krishna has with each and every one of his devotees, and how he responds and reciprocates beautifully with the sentiments in that particular relationship. So here, Arjuna is describing to Yudhishthir Maharaj that it was by his mercy, that means Krishna's mercy, that my enemies neglected to kill me when I descended from my chariot to get water for my thirsty horses. And it was due to my lack of esteem for my Lord that I dared engage him as my chariot driver, for he's worshipped and offered services by the best men to attain salvation. So, on the battlefield, anything can happen. But because Arjuna had the full protection of Krishna, nothing happened to him. He was completely protected, though in actuality, his army was very small compared to the Kauravas. The Kauravas' army had 11 Akshauhini divisions. Each Akshauhini division has millions of soldiers, millions of elephants, millions of horses, millions like that. And here, the Pandavas had only 7. Where is 7? Where is 11? Nearly 1.5 times more. And they had very great warriors who were invincible in battle, like Bhishma, Dronacharya, Karna, Duryodhana himself, Dushasana, Shalya, Jayadratha, Shakuni, all very big, very famous and very powerful warriors. But yet nothing happened to Arjuna. Why? Because Krishna was constantly protecting his devotee. And this is the assurance the Lord gives, that do not worry, my devotee will never be vanquished. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita. He reciprocates perfectly with each and every devotee according to the particular relationship that devotee is in. For example, there was a perfect relationship of mother and son with Yashoda Mai and little Krishna. He acted just like a naughty child with her. Stealing butter, breaking the yogurt pot, running away, doing all kinds of mischief. And all the gopis come complaining to Mother Yashoda. Then she scolds him. Then she tries to give him good advice. Then she tries to instruct him. She tries to teach him. But is Krishna going to listen to all that? No, he carries on with his pranks. Because he knows that this is what actually gives great pleasure to the gopis' heart. So he continues with all his naughty pastimes with Mother Yashoda, plays like a little boy. In fact, she's always worrying about him. My Krishna has not eaten properly today. Oh, Krishna, come quickly. Have your dinner. Are you a street boy or what? Come and take a bath. Let me clean you up. Then at other time she worries. Oh, the forest path are so thorny, filled with thorns. My little Krishna, he's walking barefoot. What will happen to him? Has he eaten enough? She tells all the Gopas and she tells Balaram especially, please take good care of him. Imagine, she's worrying about him like he's her little child. That's how Krishna reciprocates perfectly with her motherly love. Same thing he does with his Gopa friends. For his Gopa friends, he's just a friend. They don't know that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he covers them with his deluding internal potency. And so they have very great fun, jumping on Krishna's shoulders, being carried by Krishna. Sometimes Krishna jumps on their shoulders. They play hide and seek. They eat out of each other's lunch box. Then they eat something, they find it very tasty. So they take another lump with the same hand with which they have been eating and they push it into Krishna's mouth. All these things go on. And the cowherd boys are just waiting for Krishna to come out and play with them. For them, he is just a friend. Even when he says that he is God, they just laugh. Ha 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 ha. He's God? I cannot believe that. How come he is God? He's not God. He's just a friend. Then with his queens, he's the perfect husband and perfect lover. Full of opulence in Dwarakadham, full of Aishwarya. There he is the complete king, with each queen having a beautiful palace To each queen, he gives 10 sons and 1 daughter. The palace is filled with all royal paraphernalia for their enjoyment: gardens, rooms, bedsteads, silk canopies, ropes of pearls, jewels, emeralds. Everything is gorgeous, beautiful, enchanting, alluring, royal opulence. That's the way he reciprocates with the queens of Dwaraka. With Nanda Baba again, he's a naughty little boy. With his brother Balaram, he acts like the little brother, obedient to his elder brother's desires and wishes. Balaram has come as his elder brother, and so he listens to his elder brother. He listens to his commands. And Balaram is in charge of protecting Krishna. So, like this, Krishna performs different pastimes and has different relationships with each person, and he reciprocates perfectly in that relationship with each and every one. Now with Arjun, there was a bond of friendship. Sakha. Arjun would call him Sakha, means friend. And in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Arjun became totally bewildered and totally aghast at seeing all his relatives whom he had to kill, he takes the position of a student, of a disciple. And that changes the relationship from friendship to disciple and guru. And that's how Krishna speaks the whole Bhagavad Gita. Before that, Arjun actually, jokes and teases Krishna. He, jests with him and makes fun of him sometimes. He, just treats him like one friend to another. He doesn't realize that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he's covered over by Krishna's deluding potency. But then when he surrenders to Krishna, out of his confusion, Krishna shows him what? A universal form, because he wants to see it. And then what does Arjuna say? Oh my Lord, this fearful form, I'm trembling, I'm filled with fear. It is with your blazing, death-like faces, all creatures rushing into your mouths, and such, effulgence spreading everywhere. This is very frightening. Please change yourself into your usual four-armed form so that I can see you as you are. And then Krishna shows him his Narayan form and then turns back again into his two-armed form as Arjuna knows him. But from that point on, Arjuna never, ever misunderstands who Krishna is. And though he is the chariot driver of Arjuna knows very well that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So let's look at those verses where Arjuna is actually able to acknowledge. Okay. Here we go. You have been... Yeah. Let's look at text 41 onwards. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you. Oh Krishna, oh Yadava, oh my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we lay relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. Oh, infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. And then he continues to glorify him. You're the Father. No one is greater than you. You're the Supreme Lord. I offer my obeisances. Ask you for your mercy. And then he says, as a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. So he asked for forgiveness for the way he treated Krishna before. Treated him just impertinently at times. Then he says, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O Abode of the universe. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus in your hands. I long to see you in that form. And so then Krishna says, he says to Arjun, I'm very happy to show you my usual form. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. And then he spoke like that, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, encouraging the fearful Arjun. So you see how loving the Lord is. He doesn't want to bewilder his devotee. He doesn't want to let his devotees know that he is God himself. So, because he wants to enjoy that love that each of his devotees has with him, he allows for that relationship to blossom in such a way that he can reciprocate with that person's mood and sentiments perfectly. It is said over here. While playing in such a perfect transcendental relation, the devotee forgets why the internal potency of the Lord, that is friend or son, is the supreme personality of Godhead. Although sometimes the devotee is bewildered by the acts of the Lord. So I will share with you a little story that Guru Maharaj himself actually quoted that Srila Prabhupada shared with all of his disciples a long time ago. He said once there was a very great man, a big shot. No, he was very wealthy, very powerful. It was very difficult to meet him. But somehow this person wanted to meet him and he took an appointment. So the day of the appointment came, he went to meet him and the person was asked to wait. So he waited, and nothing was happening. He was sitting in the waiting room 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour. The door was slightly open to his office room. So he decided he'll just, push the door open a little bit and inform him that I'm here, I'm waiting for you. So when he pushed open the door, he saw that big man, very great, powerful man, who's very wealthy, very powerful. He was down on all fours like a horse, and his little grandson was on his back, and he was going around on all fours on the ground, playing horsey with his little grandson. So Srila Prabhupada went on to say that he was enjoying being a grandfather. It didn't matter to him that he was a big man, a powerful man, a wealthy man, an influential man, had big connections, this, that. With his grandson, he was just a grandfather. And for the little grandson, he didn't know his grandfather is a big shot and powerful and this and that. For him, this is my grandfather, and I get to have fun with him. I get to play with him. Horsey. So like this, the Lord enjoys loving intimacy with his pure devotees. Even in Damodar Ashtakam we sing, isn't it? The pure devotees, the loving intimacy that they offer Krishna, he enjoys that more than being treated with awe and reverence. Which is that particular verse in Damodar Ashtakam I'm trying to remember. Iti Driksva Leela Bhir Anand. No, that is not the one. Param Deva Moksham. Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasiddha Prabho Dukha Julabdima Kuveratmaja Badda Mutyeva Yadvat Tvaya Muchita Bhakti Bhajav Kritav Cha Tatha Prema Bhaktim Swakame Prayacha Name Namokshe Grahomi Sri Damodareha. Anyway, one of those verses, it is said that Krishna is not conquered by awe and reverence. He is conquered by pure love of his devotees. And he enjoys loving sentiments, loving pastimes in that particular mood. So we'll talk a little bit about the second paragraph about water. The water is an essential ingredient for life. Without water, we cannot survive. We cannot live because 70% of our bodies are water. In fact, water is so important that the Lord himself is called Jalanarayan. And Krishna says, I am the taste of water. O son of Kunti, I am the light of the sun and the moon. Let's see if I can pull that up. That's in chapter Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter. I think it's verse number 8. Let me just check. So in that, Krishna is saying, I am the taste of water. And Srila Prabhupada goes on to say that the Lord is so kind that he is offering tasty, sweet water to quench our thirst. Now, especially on a battlefield, 7, 8. Yeah, here we go. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayaho pranava sarva vedeshu shabda ke paurusham nrishu. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, and the syllable Om in the Vedic literatures. And I am Vedic mantras, and I am the sound in ether and ability in man. The taste of water is the active principle of water. No one likes to drink seawater because the pure water, pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Attraction for water depends on the purity of the taste, and this pure taste is one of the energies of the Lord. The impersonalist perceives the presence of Lord in water by its taste. And the personalist also glorifies the Lord for his kindly supplying tasty water to quench man's thirst. That is the way of perceiving the Supreme. So every time we drink water, we can say, Thank you, Krishna, for this tasty water that you're giving me to quench my thirst, to keep my life alive. And here in the battlefield, it is very difficult to get water. First and foremost, the battlefield is full of warring soldiers. So how can anybody get water? So it's a very difficult terrain to be in. And there are many wounded soldiers, generals feeling very thirsty. But how to get water? Srila Prabhupada says Arjun was so expert that by simply shooting an arrow into the ground, he could bring a fountain of water to come. And all of you know that famous story where Bhishma Dev said, I am very thirsty. He was lying on the bed of arrows. There was no way he could get up and go and get water. It was not possible. He was just a fallen soldier on a bed of arrows. So Arjun was so expert an archer, he immediately shot an arrow into the ground in such a way that a stream of water fell right into Bhishma Dev's open mouth. Yeah, there are paintings like this describing this pastime. So that's how expert Arjun was. Nowadays, nobody can do such things. We have the history of Lord Ram also. He shot an arrow once in the forest and produced a stream of water. So these things were known to the olden people because they had that skill of archery. They knew exactly how to do it. We don't know these. That's why these big machines and big boring, equipment and all these things and try here, try there. But they actually even knew where to go and bore in order to get the water. So all this is a great art and a science which is unknown, as Srila Prabhupada says. It's unknown to the modern day scientists because they don't have that knowledge. They don't understand how the world is, what the geography is, what the topography is. But in olden days, they knew all these things. So this is the difference between today's scientists and the people of old. They could understand the language of birds. There were kings who could understand what is happening by listening to the birds in the forest talking amongst themselves. This is, a fact. Similarly, there were sages and saints who could read the minds of people, who could see past, present, future. All these skills are unknown to the present population, but these are all mystic powers. And by tapasya, by performing penances, one can acquire these extraordinary abilities. Of course, devotee is not interested in acquiring these qualities, for the sake of acquiring. He just wants to engage in bhakti yoga and serve the Lord. So thank you all for listening very patiently to this particular part of the purport, as well as where we are in the sequence of the Pandavas retired timely. We will now open up for questions, comments, corrections, sharing with all of you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please
Hare
accept
Krishna,
my humble
Bhagavad
obeisance.
Please accept my
Please accept humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Such a sweet
all
class,
glories to
as
Prabhupada.
always.
Glories to Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say thank you for the beautiful class, as always. And one question I had is to do, I don't know whether should I wait for if somebody has got question related to this class, or should I ask, because it's from Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, or should I ask now?
Please go ahead and ask now. No problem.
Okay, 1 second. It's on chapter 5 and verse 15. It says on purport.
Verse 15.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can pull that up. Verse 15, chapter 5. Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Let's see. Okay, nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's pious or sinful. That what?
Yeah, I was just opening my Gujarati, but I will open my English one.
Share the screen and share that verse 5:15. Okay. Okay. It's the one I'm, oh no, sorry. I'm going for chapter 16. Yeah, so it's in purport. Just before the verse, Agno Jantur Ani Soyam Atmanah Sukhadukhayo Iswara Prerito Gachet Swargam Vasvabram Evacha. Just before that, where it says, Lord engages the living entity in pious activities so that he may be elevated. The Lord engages him in impious activities so that he may go to hell. How do we understand this? How can Krishna be so cruel? How can he send someone to hell? He's supposed to be all merciful, compassionate, kind, etc. See, the Lord wants every living entity to come back to him. He doesn't want him to engage in all kinds of sinful activities, sinful deeds, impious activities, etc. But the stubborn living entity, in defiance to God's laws, engages in all these sinful activities, sinful pastimes, etc. And by giving him punishment, the Lord actually reforms that person, because once he receives that punishment, he's sent back again. It's not that he suffers eternally in hell. Yamaraj, he awards the punishment, and after which that soul is given another body according to his deeds. Right? So the Lord is not partial to anyone. It's not like, no, he treats only the devotees nicely and he treats the demons badly. He gives them their due punishment. And after which they are placed in different souls according to what deeds they have done. That's why they even glide down to the lower species of life. That is possible. Krishna says, I put them again and again in the chapter 16, divine and demoniac natures. He says himself that I put them into lower and lower species of life. Why? Because they have to suffer for what they have done. They have to suffer for their misdeeds. And only when they again evolve and come back again to the human form of life, again they are given the opportunity to become either pious or continue sinful activities. So Krishna is not being cruel or deliberately mean, or everyone gets the result of what they have done. That is why it is so important in the human form of life to lead a godly life. It is a life of great responsibility. You can't say, oh, I didn't know. I thought I could get away with lying, cheating, murder, hypocrisy. No, it's a very responsible life. And in this life, you're supposed to lead a God-conscious life, a godly life, maybe Christian, Muslim, Jew, Hindu, whatever. But following the laws of God is meant for humans. The animals don't incur any sin. They are just acting according to their instinct. There is no morals code for them. But for the human being, because he is made in the image of God, and this is the one loophole by which he can come back to God. If he misuses it, the punishment is very heavy. He cannot harm other creatures and get away with it. Cow killing, abortions, murders, thievery, stealing the state treasury to, enhance your own pocket while the people are suffering without proper food, shelter, clothing, medicine. All these are very grievous criminal acts, and there's a heavy price to pay for that. There is no excuse. So the Lord engages him in pious activity means he doesn't purposefully do that. He is just allowing that soul to make a choice. He never interferes with our free will. Krishna never touches our free will. That is sacred. So if that sinful person wants to do more and more sinful deeds, he's going to pay the price. You see? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. If I go to America and say, oh, in India, I drive on the right side, so here also I'll drive on the right side, they're going to keep quiet. They're going to say, here's your ticket. You do what you like in India, but here you have to drive on the left side, right? You cannot say ignorant. I didn't know. In India, I do like this. I didn't know. So I thought I will drive on this side. Can you get away with it? No. You'll get a ticket. You'll be arrested. You might even be thrown in jail for endangering the lives of other drivers, right? So if the state laws are so strict, imagine God's laws, how strict they are. Very stringent. Nobody can get away with anything, even a small thing, because everything is being recorded.
So, the way is to understand, I gathered from your explanation that initially it comes from our desire. Then Krishna engages the living entity to do the pious or impious activities. Then
engages means he doesn't deliberately say, come on, go to the disco, go to the pub. He just facilitates. He just gives you free will to make this. He's not a, what do you say? He's not an instigator of crime. He facilitates in the sense he gives free will to you to do what you want to do. It is in your interest to want what God wants. But if you don't want that, he doesn't interfere with your free will. He says, all right, suffer the consequences. Prabhupada said, Krishna says, don't do, but still you do. All right, you do and you suffer. Prabhupada answered like this.
Yeah, now that makes so much sense. Is the engages word just confused me a lot.
Right.
But it's a facilitates.
Yeah.
That's, I feel like makes clear so much everything. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namrata, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to the Vaishnavas.
My humble
Actually, my
apologies. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, and all glories to the Vaishnavas.
thank you, Mataji. So, my question was regarding what our daily nectar drops are there. So, what is posted today? So, Guru Maharaj has sent something like about anger. That anger is to be used in devotional service. So how do we understand that? Uh, how do we use anger in devotional service? I was just wondering that.
Very good question.
Anger
Very
is
deep
meant
question.
to. He said anger is meant to serve Lord, but when we, get overwhelmed or overcome by it, it is material. So
Yeah, I will share that. I will share that particular screen so everyone can see today's code. Can you see? Anger is meant for serving the Lord. But if you get overwhelmed by anger, that is material. Use anger in devotional service and not be used by that anger.
correct. Yeah.
It's a very deep thing. It's not so easy. It's not so easy to first understand as well as apply. It's a very deep thing because at our level, we are just swayed by all kinds of emotions all the time. One day sad, one day angry, one day lonely, one day fed up, one day frustrated, one day this, one day that. Right now, we are just getting overwhelmed by our different feelings. We don't have so much self-control or self-awareness even, or self-knowledge or self-mastery. These are all higher and higher levels of God realization and self-realization. So here, what is being described is how Hanuman used anger. He was so angry at the treatment meted out to Mother Sita. He was so angry at what Ravana had done. He just burnt up whole of Lanka before going back. I'll teach the rascal a lesson. He allowed himself to be captured. They set his tail on fire, and with that tail, he burnt up whole of Lanka and then went flying back, right? So there Prabhupada describes, he used anger to serve the Lord. He wasn't consumed by that anger. Instead, he used anger in service to the Lord. Then Prabhupada goes on to explain that a Vaishnav should get angry when other Vaishnavas who are in good standing, who are pure devotees, are being blasphemed. A Vaishnav should get angry to see another creature being tortured or unnecessarily harassed or tormented and rush to protect, like Jatayu. Like how Jatayu was an old vulture, but he was so what to say, in righteous indignation, he fought with Ravan because he was carrying away Mother Sita. So we must be very careful in understanding where our anger is coming from. Why am I angry? Is my anger justified? Is it coming from my false ego? Am I getting angry because I am hurt? Because things can happen to us also. People can blaspheme us, torment us, abuse us, say all kinds of nasty things. But what we are supposed to do then? Be humble and tolerant and not react and accept dishonor, insult, suffering, everything, saying this is happening by the mercy of the Lord. Not even a blade of grass stirs without the sanction of the Lord. But if another Vaishnav is being harassed, tormented, we just jump in and say, no way, Jose, you cannot treat another Vaishnav like that. Right? So, anger must be very carefully examined first. Where is this anger coming from? Who am I really angry at? Sometimes we are angry with ourselves because we have not behaved in the way we would like to have behaved. We have not said something we should have said. It is in our helplessness that we behaved a certain way, and then later on thinking about it, we start getting angry with our own selves. Arey, why I said like this, or why I didn't say that, or why I behaved like this. I should have, woulda, shoulda, coulda syndrome. So many times we have to do a lot of introspection to understand what level we are at. Only the great souls can use anger in service to the Lord. Only very great souls. So first we have to work on self-mastery. We have to work on Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. Only when we have complete mastery of our emotions, then we can use that emotion in Krishna's service. Do you get it? So it is not so easy. Let me show you Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam. Vacho Vegam, Manasa. It is a very instructive verse. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. This is a very... Are you able to see?
Yes, now we can see.
Yeah. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udarupasta Vegam, Etan Vegan Yo Vishaheta Dhiraha, Sarvam Apimam Prithivim Sashishya. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So this is a very high state of self-realization and self-mastery. Such a person only will be able to use anger in the service of the Lord because he has conquered over his self. We are not there yet. At least I'm not there yet. I can tell you that much. We are consumed, overwhelmed, scared, this, that, so many things, you know. Right now, our emotions overwhelm us. We are not in control of our emotions all the time. We are practicing. We are practicing more and more to get detached. But the self-controlled yogi can experience that emotion without acting on it. He can choose when to act and when not to act. For example, when Bhrigu Muni came and kicked, that was the final one. But first, when he came to Brahma, he just ignored him. And Brahma got angry, but he controlled himself. Shiva couldn't control himself. He went rushing to kill him. And Parvati Mata had to stop him. Right? From, using his trident against Bhrigu, saying, oh, he's your brother, my Lord, please control yourself. And finally he went to Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu was so kind. He said, oh, my stone-like chest must have hurt your foot. Yeah, let me massage your foot. Please forgive me. Now it has become a purified place because you have touched your foot on my chest. A Brahmana's foot has. So how did Lord Vishnu react? In the mode of goodness, pure goodness.
Compassion.
So, yes. So it is very difficult for us at this point where we are to use anger in service to the Lord. But this is what we are encouraged to reach that point. Because devotee is not a feelingless machine. A devotee is a complete personality. He experiences, feels all the emotions, expresses all the emotions, but in a proper God-conscious manner. Is that clear?
Yes, it is clear, but to exactly understand the meaning, I think I have to read a lot more. Thank you for making me understand. This is a lot more deeper than what I was thinking. Yeah.
Very deep. You can ask Guru Maharaj more also. You can ask more from Guru Maharaj to take us deeper into the subject matter. We will all learn from that. Very nice question.
This, I think, of course, this requires intelligence to discriminate between the line of getting overwhelmed by our emotions. Yeah, as you told that not getting into our emotions, looking at the overall picture, I think it requires the intelligence which comes from Guru Sadhu Shastra, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Thank
also
you very much.
different propensities. Brahmanas are supposed to be very peaceful. They will not display anger. Kshatriya is very protective. If he sees something wrong, immediately he is ready, like Maharaj Parikshit. He saw the bull being attacked, he was ready to kill Kali. So, according to our propensities also, we will express differently.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I have to contemplate more on this. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Nice question. Very deep question.
Just one more point, Mataji. When you were explaining about how Krishna enjoys a relationship, friendship, and loving relationship rather than relationship in awe and reverence, is some respect. I don't know whether it's right to think like that, but we can experience the same way as well. That if it's nice to if somebody treat us with respect, it's nice, but it's more enjoyable and more nicer, sweeter in loving relationship with as a other relationship.
Yeah, because
Yes.
formal relationships are just that, formal. There's respect, there's courtesy, but you can't open your heart. You can't share your deep inner self. While in intimate personal relationships, you share at a very deep level. That's what makes a deep, meaningful relationship happen. In intimate relationship, we can openly share our heart, knowing that our trust will not be violated. We can share our vulnerabilities and ask feedback and help to work on our issues and things. But we can't do that with anyone and everyone. Only with a trusted few close people who know us intimately and whom we know very intimately, who will not break our trust, who will not break our confidentiality, who have the emotional maturity themselves to understand where we are at and help us. All these things we have to consider before opening our hearts to an intimate relationship. But once a relationship is built on very solid, trustworthy principles, we actually blossom and grow in deep, meaningful, emotionally intimate, loving relationships. Isn't it? That is why Prabhupada made this society, to have loving exchanges, opening one's heart in confidence and receiving confidentially another's.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you. So Vrajamandal is making some points. He says, I also need to think about this point. I think that was about anger we were talking about. Thank you, Vrajamandal, for your comment. Namrata has to leave. That's all right. Because I'm the host, I'm doing, the reading out on the chat as well as trying to answer your questions. Please bear with me. If there are no other questions or comments, maybe we can end the call if you would like to do that. Oh, Raj Prabhu, go ahead.
Krishna, thank you for your wonderful class. It's always pleasing to hear about Lord Krishna's pastimes. And you're talking about loving relationships. How do we develop intimate loving relationship with Krishna? And when we attempt to, how do we know that we are genuinely hearing from Krishna and it's not our mind playing tricks on us?
Right. Very, very good question. First and foremost, the only way to develop a relationship with Krishna is to develop a very strong relationship with our Gurudev. Because the spiritual master is the only way by which to get to Krishna. He is in fact the mercy manifestation of Krishna himself, actually. So our relationship with Krishna grows as our relationship with our Gurudev grows. So strictly following the orders of Guru Maharaj, trying our level best to please him through following his instructions. Because remember, what is the interest of the Guru? He doesn't want anything for himself. By following his orders, we become better in Krishna consciousness. We become more purified. We become more enlivened. It is for our good that we are being asked to follow the spiritual master. The spiritual master has nothing to gain or lose. So, in his mercy, he is giving us instructions to follow so that we become better in Krishna consciousness. So, we develop our relationship with Krishna by developing our relationship with Guru. We come to know about Krishna by the classes of Guru. We come to love Krishna by our service. Srila Prabhupada said to know him is to love him. And love means service. So service means serving the spiritual master. Because when the spiritual master is pleased, it means Krishna is pleased. And you become happy. So that is the way to go forward in Krishna consciousness, by pleasing the spiritual master. And we will slowly build up a relationship with Krishna. And then Krishna is always there in the heart. He's just a prayer away. So by praying to Krishna at all times, we can develop a relationship with Krishna. And he will talk to us also in the heart. That will also happen eventually. But we must be patient. We must be diligent. We must be very humble. We must be very strict and follow the process nicely. You know, like the physician gives the medicine, you have to take the dosage properly, like that.
Thank you, Sridevi Mataji.
Thank you. Very nice question. Hari Bol. So any last minute sharing or realization or questions, or shall we end the call for today? It's up to you.
Another.
Huh?
You know, it is said that one should serve the spiritual master, but in reality, who can truly serve the spiritual master? Because first of all, we have these extremely limited bodies, and we're very limited in what we can do. Then we have like a limited intelligence, and it's like we're nothing compared to the pure devotee. And it feels like in reality it's the spiritual master that's serving the devotees, the disciples, and we're just like making fumbled attempts to serve.
So true. So true. You know, once I heard Guru Maharaj explaining our service is like, you know, the little child comes running with a drawing with all squiggles and wriggles and, you know, all lines and circles all over the page and say, Mommy, look, I have drawn you. And Mommy looks at that scroll and says, oh, this is so beautiful. My baby has drawn a picture of me. Haribol. So like this, we are just stumbling like little babies and trying to serve Krishna. And Krishna is served perfectly by millions of goddesses of fortune. He doesn't really even need our service, but he allows us to serve. And our impure, incorrect, imperfect devotional service is purified by the spiritual master and then offered to Krishna. Krishna is not obliged to take all this crappy stuff. But in his mercy, he sends the spiritual master, and the spiritual master purifies that service and offers it to Krishna. Without the mercy of the spiritual master, there's no way for us to offer anything to Krishna. But as we
So we
practice,
can
we become better and better and better at it. Practice makes one perfect. Krishna consciousness is nothing but practice, 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 practice. Practice chanting the holy name, practice reading every day, practice serving the devotees, practice on praying for good quality. Just keep on practicing and never give up. That's the only way forward in Krishna consciousness. We should always have this mentality. Yes, I'm imperfect. Yes, I'm very fallen. Yes, I'm, practically useless. But by the mercy of my Gurudev, I will practice Krishna consciousness, and slowly, slowly, I will get better.
Thank you, Sridevi Master.
Thank you. Very nice question. Sonalji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, nice to see you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Just very irrelevant question actually. How was your Vrindavan Yatra? We haven't heard much about Vrindavan Yatra.
Oh, I didn't go to Vrindavan. I went to Puri. I
Oh,
went to
okay.
Jagannath Puri. I was with the Radhanath Maharaj disciples. It was
Yeah, the same, yeah.
mind-blowing. 12,000 people under one pandal hearing Krishna Katha every evening with Guru Maharaj, and then separated into different 8 groups named after each of the Ashtasakis, and buses going to different places of the Lord's pastime, visiting temples, shrines, kunds, listening to Katha over there a little bit, then coming back. It was just the kitchen, the setup of the kitchen was like, I couldn't believe it, how they were cooking for 10,000, 12,000 people at a time. It was just amazing, amazing service attitude and great team spirit, great unity. What coordination, I don't know what brains have gone into planning the whole thing from A to Z. Just imagine the logistics involved, so many people, so many buses, so many accommodations, hotels to be arranged, so much prashadam, bhog to be bought, and oh, it was amazing. So now it was just mind-blowing. Can't even
It's just
understand.
nice to hear, because then it inspires us to try going for attending one, probably in coming
Yeah,
years.
it is my very first yatra like this with Radhanath Maharaj. I have never gone on a yatra like this, ever. This is the first time in when did I begin Krishna? Yeah, 22 years. First time in 22 years that I'm going on Radhanath Maharaj Yatra. And that too because someone told me about it and they said, your Guru Maharaj always is there. So maybe you should come. This was in July. And I said, oh, really? I don't know anything about it. He said, yeah, you should come. That's how I just went along with them. And, I had a mind-blowing experience. It was just amazing. I kept thinking, when will Candramauli Maharaj's disciples do something for serving Guru Maharaj like this? I was really feeling, oh my God, at least Radha Bhakti and her team do something for Gurudev, every year in terms of disciples meetings and all that. But speaking of myself, I'm just practically useless.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just nice to hear it. It was just nice to hear about the yatras.
Yeah, very nice, very wonderful. Please come.
Yes, hopefully.
Next year,
Sometime.
every year, Kartik Yatra, every year it happens. They go to different places. Once they had come to Mayapur, another time I think they had gone to Udupi, some South Indian places, temples and like that. I don't know. Last year I think it was Vrindavan. This year it was Jagannath Puri.
There are lots of people from UK went there as well because I've heard the temple was really empty.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
so much, Mataji.
Thank you for reminding me. Okay, I guess we can end the call over here. Thank you all so very much for kindly and patiently listening and sharing your deep realizations, wonderful questions, giving me an opportunity to serve you. Thank you all so very much. And there is Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu missing his wife.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept humble obeisances.
How are you
Always
surviving
listening
without
to
Srimati?
It's the same Mataji.
Acha. We are looking forward to being with her tomorrow.
Yes,
And
yes.
we are going to miss you.
Yeah, unfortunately Mataji. Some other time.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank
We
you.
miss your children too.
Yeah, beautiful kids.
Yes.
Siddharth
Yeah.
and Lasya.
Thank you so much Mataji for the class. Very well.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
I will end the class now.
Mataji, when is the retreat happening? Is it a Govardhan Eco Village one?
November 29th to December 7th is the disciples meeting in Govardhan Eco Village.
And will Maharaj be doing the daily classes for us throughout this?
I don't know about that
Yes, sir.
part. We'll have to check in with Srimati. I don't believe that will happen, but
I don't think so, Shilpesh Prabhu. I think she has scheduled some calls, but call will be there as much as possible, but may not be Guru Maharaj. But I think in between he may, but not sure at this time. But class will be there.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Mataji.
you all so very much. I will end the class.
Kalpatarubhyascha
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha patitanam bhavanebhyo
Hare
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very
Safe
much.
travels, Sonia. My dear Sonia. Soumya Datri. Welcome
Yeah,
to Mumbai. Travel safely.
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
And same to you, Raj Prabhu.